What's up, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Random Nerdy Shit in here. Might be wondering, where is my co-host today? Lewis is in SuperCon right now, Florida SuperCon, actually. There's a Florida SuperCon happening right now in Miami, so he's there right now all weekend, all horrible, as always. You guys know how Lewis is. He's always horrible. But we'll get an update from him maybe later. We'll see if I can give him a call and later and like bug him or something, right? But today is actually a very special day because, as you guys know from the last podcast, essentially We Got Issues is not going to be replaced by Random Nerdy Shit, which is actually gaining a lot of steam in our podcast section. And content podcasting is just something that me and Lewis just don't do often, and when we do it, we just kind of look kind of horrible sometimes because we have to stick with the topic. And you guys know how our last podcasts are. We don't normally stick to topics at all, so we just kind of veer off to something, right? But today is going to be the start of season 2 of Random Nerdy Shit. This is episode 1, and we have a very special guest today. Today, we're going to be interviewing someone named Susie Creates. I'm pretty sure you guys know her already. She's gaining a lot of steam right now in terms of notoriety. She was featured in. Actually, I'm just gonna buzz her in. I'm just gonna ask her. Hey, Susie, how are you today?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Good. So I was letting people know how famous you are. So I said that I was gonna say that you were featured in CBR, but then I was like, was that Screen Rant or CBR? I'm not quite sure. It was CBR, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was CBR and whatnot. Oh man, what's her name is gonna be so mad at me. I forgot her name. The one who interviewed
Meg.
She could be Meg. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. She could be so mad at me. She's like, you forgot? God damn. But how are you today?
I'm great. Just saw Thor: Love and Thunder earlier today, and I made a jacket for fun to wear to the theater. And so it was fun to do that and then go, and I enjoyed the movie. I love movies. I won't be a critical person. I love movies.
Yeah.
So it was really fun, and I took my kids. I have a couple small kids, and
right.
They loved it too. Actually, they really enjoyed a lot of the kid stuff in there. So
any spoilers?
I won't say any spoilers. No.
Why not? Spoilers are fun.
It's fun, but I don't want to spoil it because it's only been out a couple days as of right now.
The way I look at spoilers, it's always been like it's like reading the back of the book. Like
yeah.
if the back of the book interests me, I'll probably watch it. I don't know. I'll probably do it. I'm not quite sure. But it was funny though, because I messaged you and I said, hey, here's the link to the interview. I'll be waiting here. And you're like, it's only like 3:30 here. So
yeah.
I was like, oh my God. The reason why I didn't convert it properly, I don't normally look this tired. I just had a baby, which is 3 months old now. So yeah, so I'm like dead tired.
I get it.
There's like feeding every 4 hours or whatnot. I mean, how many kids do you have?
3 kids.
Oh my God, you have to do that like 3 times?
No, because the first was twins.
Oh my God. So you had to like do it twice first go around.
Yes. Oh. But then the second pregnancy, so the third kid was a breeze. It was so much easier.
I don't know. Like, well, my wife was like telling me, she's like, do you want another one? I was like, well, the plan is to adopt. She's like, yeah, but do you want another one? I want another one. I'm like, another one of this? Like this whole thing again with the no sleep and that? No, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but you learn a lot in the first one, and so then the second one goes a lot easier. It really does. So
don't be on her side. Don't be on her side on this. I like sleep. What? Because like when you said that it was only 4:30 or 5:30 at your time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can relate, but I was like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry. And then in my head, I was like, oh, thank God I can lie down for a second. I'm so tired. I am so tired. Oh my God. But this is before we began, I was like, this is kind of awkward because it was the first time you're seeing me, though.
Yeah, first time we're actually chatting, but
like chatting, first time, like face to face kind of thing. Yeah. Did you have like a different image of what I would look like taller, bigger? I don't
know. Not really. No,
not really.
Because I kind of looked you up right away. I mean, I wasn't like,
Who is this guy contacting me? What's going on in there? So I want to ask you a couple of things because I know I've seen interviews about you and whatnot. We're gonna get to the cosplay side, all the things, but I'm more interested in your day job. That is what I'm more interested in. Is geology, right?
Yep, I'm a petroleum geologist.
Okay.
So I work for oil and gas exploration company.
Oh, the devil.
No, well, no. When you're part of the industry, you understand all that goes into it, and those that are on the outside don't quite catch it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been in lots of different kinds of the industry, and I just understand it better. And I'm doing a really cool project that's just been filed with the state processing thing, so I can talk about it a little bit now. But we're doing some cool things with the rock where we're going to inject nitrogen into the rock to get all the extra, to flush out all the extra oil that's stuck in all the little pore spaces.
Really?
So, yeah, it's really cool. It's more of it. That's like the engineer's side of it. I just have to tell them where to go.
I'm actually interested in
be good or not. So
I'm actually interested in that because I'm kind of one of those people that's kind of like learning a couple of things so that I have something to talk about when like I have a random conversation with people. Kind of like the Titanic, the movie. Obviously, you've seen the Titanic movie, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has. Yeah. For every Gen Z who's probably listening to us on our podcast, essentially Titanic is this movie back in '97. But anyways, did you know that movie had a lot of like historical facts that are actually true?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I didn't.
The band that played. They actually did play.
Yeah, actually did play, and then the old couple that was drowning in their beds. That was true too. But the other one that I just found out was about the only 6 Asian people that was on the boat. Did you hear about that?
No.
So if you watch the movie carefully, I think during the time where everyone's evacuating and panicking, when Jack and Rose was like running around, you would see like one Asian guy there with glasses and long hair, and you see him in like 6 or 3 different frames of the movie, right? There was it was very significant because he was part of the 6 surviving only Asian people that was on the boat. There was 8 of them and 6 of them survived. Wow. And there's a small documentary on it right now. So that was actually, I thought that was interesting. So I'm going to ask you about like the geology stuff, but I want to ask you the very first thing I want to ask, and I was telling my wife about this. I'm like, this is the first thing I'm going to ask her about geology stuff. Have you seen Friends?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a T-shirt just like Ross that says Geology rocks?
No, but I do have a T-shirt somewhere that says like, it's not rock, it's science. And it's crossed out. It's not like rocket science, but it's a big boulder like crushing a rocket. So that's my geology shirt. I don't have a whole lot of those anymore because it's like my job. It's not as fun. It's not as fun as it was when I was like in school and that sort of thing. So
yeah. So the other thing that I want to ask you about too as well is that I was watching. I don't know if you've seen a show in Netflix called The 90s. Have you seen that? Okay, you should really watch it. It's really awesome. It's just big nostalgic and what's going on in the 90s. I think it was like 90s music or something like that. But anyways, there's one part in there where they were interviewing T-Pain. It says how T-Pain became like the most hated person in America in the music industry. It's because of auto-tune.
Oh yeah.
Right? And they went through the discussion of who invented auto-tune. It was a geologist. Because of like apparently, I'm not quite sure if this is true or if you've seen it happen or it's something that you have researched or studied. They would take like essentially dynamite and they would just like plant them 6 or 10 feet down underground and just kind of just explode them and whatnot. And then they would take all that seismic activity and have it like bounce off oil and then bounce back to them, so they can see how much oil there is underground, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that was like the whole that's the whole creation of auto tune and whatnot. So
I didn't realize that the seismic world was the one that came up with auto tune. But
I know, right?
You're bouncing off of the different rock layers, and the different rock properties of the layers make the speed of the sound go faster or slower. And anytime you hit a barrier of a rock type,
right,
like a soft rock and a hard rock, that's when it bounces back. And so it's like you're seeing the layers. You're not seeing the oil. You're seeing the layers. And then if you do it enough all over in a 3-dimensional sense, then you see a 3-dimensional picture, and it's really neat. It's really neat. In like wave form. So they process it so that it looks.
So does it look like ultrasound?
Yes.
So okay.
It's not as clear, and you don't yet, but it's the same idea because it's a much larger scale,
Right.
So. But yeah, that's pretty much
kind of weird. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, why don't you guys have? Why don't they have like better equipment, kind of thing?
Well, they don't use dynamite anymore. That's what it was. Now they have these giant vibrating trucks that literally just pound the ground. Like, I mean, they're giant, and they just sit on they like are weighed down, and they're like pinned to the ground.
Like essentially like Man of Steel kind of thing.
I don't know, but they just sit there and they just pound on the ground.
Yeah.
Until they get the data, and then they move. And what it is instead of like dynamite every 6 feet or whatever, they have little geophones, is what they're called, and they're in lines and spread out.
Right.
And so they sit there with the trucks and they pound on the ground, and then all those geophones pick up where the sound is, and so they have a grid. That's how it's like
the first image that I thought about is kind of that scene from Man of Steel when they were like terraforming Earth and whatnot. I don't know if you've seen.
I've seen it. I can't recall
when that spaceship kind of like lands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean, and then they started terraforming and whatnot. That's the first thing I thought about. So I think I know what you're talking about, though. So essentially, how long did they have to do that for? The whole pounding.
I can't answer that question. I don't know. I've never actually done it or seen it in person. I just kind of know the idea of how it works and like how it.
The way you said it was like kind of like a secret. I'm like,
I don't. I've honestly never seen that or in its entirety, so I don't know.
Okay, so tell me about this extraction of oil that you were talking about that you couldn't speak about until now.
Because there's lots of mineral owners, property owners, and other companies that have working interest in this potential project. And because of the way it is, we wanted to make sure that we had as much property as we could, so that we could potentially be in control of this property, the whole thing. We're putting together what is a unit, and so that unit is like a defined space in both geographical and depth wise. We're saying is all one thing, and we're going to operate it all as one person, one entity, one business, even though there's lots of people that would participate in it. And so we wanted to make sure we had the majority. So we were doing deals. Can we buy this from you? Can we trade this or that so that we can have this particular property? And then we had to do all the paperwork and all the work on it to file it with the state corporation commission, is what it's called. So the state, the oil and gas group, that had the plan, the owners that we contact, their addresses. There's like 1,000 and some different people in this because it's old. It's Oklahoma. It's old. Old money, old oil and gas rights. And so every time someone had some rights, and then they give it to their kids, and then those give it to their kids. And so like one little acre of land might have 4 owners. So it's like super intense. So we had to like do all this work before we could file it, and then we had to do all this work to like make sure that. So
I definitely understand that.
We couldn't give away the secrets before it was all put out there.
I definitely understand that. I'm actually in the middle of that right now because what ended up happening was my grandmother and my father last year they passed away last year, because of COVIDs. I think they were like 3 months apart. My dad passed away first, and then my grandmother. So there's a property in the Philippines right now that needs to be transferred to the surviving siblings, because my dad's like siblings of 5. So, but in order for it to pass to them, since my grandmother passed away, it has to be signed by all the living siblings. If not, it has to be signed by the next of kin. So since my dad passed away, I have to waive my rights to it, and then my sister have to waive her rights to it too as well. So I can only imagine what you guys have to go through with like you said, old money. So you're looking at like probably seven generation. Like you can just look at the paperwork, and the first thing you see is like, oh, this land belongs to Henry VII. Oh my God, there's 7 of them. Why? So it must be like kind of a headache kind of thing. But tell me about the process of it. Like, you said that they were extracting oil from like small little rocks, or is that what you were saying?
Well, there's never, like, in terms of geology, there's never a pool of oil in the ground. What it is like, think about a sandstone. Okay, made up of sand grains and all the little spaces in between the sand grains. Right. Those are the pore spaces. Right. Okay? So the bigger the sand grains or the smaller sand grains, you're going to have bigger or smaller pores fit in between.
Okay, is that why Saudi is like really rich with this oil kind of thing?
They have very high porosity, lots of pore spaces, bigger pore spaces or more of them.
All right.
And so they have, and plus that's an area that was very organic rich to start with. Like, the history of that area is super, super intensely good for oil and gas making. Right. But yeah, so basically we're drilling for one of these, I'm just going to say, like sandstone intervals that happens to be anywhere from 400 to 600 feet thick.
Right.
Okay. And so within some of that thickness is saturated rock that has some oil in it. Oh, hi, Kitty. Is she going to join us?
Oh, like, oh God, something's behind you. Look out.
And lost my train of thought because I don't know what she's doing over there. So yeah, in those pore spaces are oil, and so some of the oil has been drained because we drilled all these wells, all through this sandstone, and a lot has come out. But what we're going to do is we're going to what's called secondary recovery, and some people call those water floods. So they'll inject water, and it'll very much go into the pore spaces and push, like oil floats on water, right? If you put oil on water, it floats to the surface. So in that sense, we're in a similar way. We're not using water, we're using nitrogen, because that's the thing that's not going to mess up the rocks. And that's going even deeper. So there's certain kinds of rock types and minerals within the rock which will make it swell up. Swelling clays, like clays get like greasy and muddy.
Of course.
So anyways, so we're using nitrogen, which mixes with stuff, and we're basically have to put in a ton. We have a whole processing plant that we bought and how do you know how to get nitrogen?
Not really.
We don't get it through pipeline. Do you know where the most abundant source of nitrogen is?
Saudi.
No. The air.
Oh, really?
The air. So we're literally going to be sucking in the air, processing it, compressing it, and then putting it into injection wells.
What?
So, yeah, it's free source, but we have to, it's going to cost us energy to filter and process it. So, nitrogen is, our atmosphere is like 100%. It's mostly nitrogen with some oxygen, with some carbon dioxide. And so we're letting out the oxygen, keeping the nitrogen and other things that are in the atmosphere, keeping the nitrogen, compressing it, and then sticking it into that rock.
So you guys have this machine that's just pulling out air consistently and just trying to like dig up all these sands and all these rocks and whatnot.
We're just sticking a straw in the ground. We're not digging up anything. We're taking anything out. We're sticking a straw in, and you go deeper down you go, the more pressure there is in there.
How large is this straw?
5.5 inches. I think we're going to be using 5.5 inches.
It's like a normal straw.
It's like a giant metal pipe that's
okay.
that's like 10,000 feet long.
That's why I was like, sure. I was
8,000, 10,000 ton. I'm trying to give you the like,
of
the
course,
like,
the lingo in there, yeah.
Yeah, so like, think about a peanut butter jelly sandwich. There's bread, there's jelly, there's peanut butter, and there's bread, whichever way you want to put it. And let's say we only want the jelly, that's the good stuff. So we're gonna stick, if you stick a straw through that, you'll see those layering, and you just want to open up that little straw where the jelly is. And so, and with pressure down deep in the earth, I'm saying, and I'm down deep, I mean a mile, 2 miles down, 10,000 feet down. And that pressure that's under there is going to just let it come out. Where there's low pressure, it's just going to come up the straw.
Yeah. So are you guys gonna? So this process. So the way you describe it, what I'm thinking is that if you guys are done with one layer, you guys go deeper, right?
No, it has an extent, an aerial extent to it.
Right.
Like, so it's goes out this direction. And we're just putting little tiny holes in it here and here and here. And it doesn't, not all of it goes at once. You only get, if you're putting in a straw, and let's say like my fingers, the width of the straw, you're only going to get like that much drained into that hole. So you have to put another one and drain that some more.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
So it can only move so far. It only reach so far. Yeah.
Right.
So we're
we're
not drilling deeper. We're drilling around, and then we're injecting and we're pushing it to all the holes that are open, all the straws that are open.
Is that something new, or has that been happening for like years now?
It's been, it happened. It's happened since the beginning of the oil and gas industry. So like the field that I'm working on now was originally drilled in the 1930s, 1940s. Through all the way up through I got really busy in 1995 to 2003.
Right.
And then so it's all of that.
Yeah, because I'm in Bakersfield, so I'm pretty sure you know about Bakersfield already. There Will Be Blood is based out of Bakersfield, so I see like oil rigs like almost every 2 steps. All the oil people are here. I know, because they have big houses. I'm like, my house is like a little tiny. I'm like, I'm not that cool yet. But essentially, that's essentially what they do here. Then that's what they do here in Bakersfield to get that oil. Then.
Yeah, they drill a well
on the oil fields. Like that's how
it comes out. Now you might go deeper, or you might find something shallower, but you also go in different areas too. So
You're kind of blowing my mind now a little bit, because I do always pass by like oil fields and whatnot, and I always thought they're just like, they're just gonna stick something in there and then just pump it out, right? And then now that you're telling me that, I was like, there is a lot of trucks in here. I think that is what they're doing now. So on your field, are you overseeing all those?
I just do part of it. I mean, the engineer, the drilling engineer, the completions or production engineer, like there's all these different people that do that side of it. I kind of do the planning, the preparation to drill, and then I'm there when it's drilling, and then as soon as it's drilled, it goes to other people. And I don't actually drill it. The drilling engineer does. I just help him, like, we're in the right spot, or we need to go deeper, or that sort of thing. Or this is what we found.
So these are the rocks. So essentially, if you yourself have the right equipment, you could do that then.
I could. I don't want to do it on my own. No. I realized in my stage of my career, like I don't want to be the manager or in charge or that sort of thing, or the only person. I just want to be. I just want to be the worker. I just want to do the everyday stuff.
Let me ask you that though. Actually, my dad my dad had the exact same mentality. He never wanted to be a supervisor. He never wanted to be a manager, kind of thing. Why is that though? Like, is that just something that you just kind of enjoy what you're doing, or you just don't want to deal with all these people, kind of thing?
You get further and further removed from doing the fun part of it, which is the discovery, the art, the actual like I picked it. And I see the results of it. I chose this spot, I drilled it, and it was a success, or I learned from it and it was a failure, or whatever. But as soon as you're a manager, then you're in meetings all day, or you have to deal with the money side. Even if you're a geologist, you have to be in charge of planning and making decisions. And I'm like, I don't really want to be the one making the decision. I just want to have the fun of it, to say, ooh, I get to do this part and plan it and see the results. So that's just
my dad has the exact same mentality, and we're just wondering why he never did it. We're just like, they ask him so many times, do you want to be a supervisor? And then they got to the point, they're like, do you want to be a manager? He's like, no. And my mom is like, something's wrong with you.
I like being a mentor. I like helping people. I like just like in cosplay, I like to like teach and mentor people, but I don't want to be like a con planner or something like that. I just want to participate. So that's where I'm at.
Do you get something named after you if you discover something?
Because sometimes you get to like name a location. A lot of times it's like the landowner or the mineral owner or the company, the bosses of the company. But every once in a while they're like, hey, this is your well that you want to drill. What do you want to name it? So
you have a well. So you have a well there somewhere.
I don't. I've just had the opportunity sometimes to like come up with a name. Sometimes they're themed and it's kind of fun. A lot of times it's just a landowner name because it's just, then it's not personal. It's just this is where it's located. So this is what we call it. But sometimes they're fun. Like you'll name an oil well. Like I think there was one time, one set that was named after different kinds of snakes. So like somebody started on a theme and it was in an area, so they just like chose different types of snakes. And then there's this whole area in like Pennsylvania where they like named a bunch after monster trucks. There's a whole like group of wells of the named monster trucks, and I don't know any of them, but or some people name it after the kids or after their family members. So
I'll be like,
it's different. Like, it's kind of fun. But then when it's not good and someone's like, you named it after me and it was a bad well, and I'm like, that always happens. Or people get compare like family members will be like, how come yours did so good and mine did so bad? And it's like, that's not how
I would name everything after me. And if my family member is like, why don't you name anything after me? Like, did you find it? I didn't think you found it. I found it. All right. This is Tim first. This is Tim the second. This is my well. This is Timmy O'Toole Tim though. So your job seems kind of fun. So why do you think people kind of have like this whole mentality, including myself, very beginning, have this whole mentality about digging oil and how it's bad and all this stuff? And even though you guys are not doing mining stuff, you guys don't do mining or anything, right?
No mining. No.
Yeah. So what's the problem then?
I think there's a couple different sides to it. People think that we're getting a lot of money for it, right? Which sometimes we do, but sometimes we spend a lot of money to get to that point. Like drilling a well costs, let's say on average $1 million for something simple. Right. For all those horizontal wells, if you've heard of those. Yeah. Those will cost $5.5 to $10+ million.
Operation.
Just to drill it. The cost of pipe. This is Breccia. I named her after a rock type, Breccia, because she's got all the pieces.
Your cat's just walking around in there. It's like, pay attention to me. Yeah, what's going on in
call
here?
Call her Kitty. She's like, no. So there's so we spend a lot of money. So you're lucky. Sometimes you don't make any money off it. So it's like, but when you do make money, then yes, you profit. And so then they, they'll pass it on to people that they knew. But another part of it is people think environmentally that it's really, really bad and that there's spills and it's hurting the environment, but they don't realize that there are regulations and there are safety guidelines, and we do have to follow those. I was part of a project once where there was a protected land for what are called prairie chickens. I think they're I'm not sure what the actual name is. Grouse. It was like a grouse. Whatever it is. And it was a certain mating season. And so we weren't allowed to drill from this month to that month. It was 6 months out of the year. And we had to also paint our tanks a neutral color. We couldn't have something that was taller than something. It was like, and so we had to pay to take care of that, and that's what we do. And there's safety guidelines. Like you have to, every time I would go to a rig, you talk about the safety at the location. You have to wear a hard hat. OSHA, you have to wear a hard hat. You have to have steel toe boots. You have to have flame retardant clothing. So it's like there is a lot of safety involved. Even the pipelines, like there's a lot of planning and a lot of regulations to go through it, and things have to be approved, and so it's not so horrible. We do a lot of work to make sure things are safe and good and paid for. And here's another part of it. Those people that do accept that, where people drill on lands, is they get paid a lot of money to drill on their lands.
Of course.
Don't complain when you get a lot of money. But then there's the other side of it, where there's some states where if you own the surface, you probably don't own the rights to the minerals. So in big cities, you live in your plot of land, you have zero rights to anything below you. There is actually a horizontal well drilling under my house right now. It's pretty neat. It's 5,000 feet or 10,000 feet. I'm not sure which one. A friend of mine at a different company, an old colleague, and he you can see the rig down a ways, but they're drilling these really long horizontal wells, and so it's beneath our neighborhood, but it's really far down deep. So
that's not going to hurt you.
You wouldn't even know. So it's let's just say it's 5,000 feet down, but it's only a 5.5-inch pipe. But also at the same time, we have zero rights. Nobody at the surface gets anything. So there's some states where people live on the land, and people are getting drilled on underneath, and you get no compensation and nothing from it. So
you are making me think about my house now. I'm in Bakersfield. I'm just like, I think there is a pipe in my house, like you said, way down there. Oh man, that's interesting.
I mean, that's an old field, so I bet you there's all sorts of holes underneath you in pipes.
There's probably. I'm just gonna sink down one day. I'm just like, I'm just like that. Just like there will be blood. Yeah, I'll just find oil. I'll be like, well, I guess I'm rich now.
None of that's left. Nothing that close to the surface is left. No.
I'm like, surface oil. Yeah, just step on oil. I'm like, hey, it's surface oil. That's the best oil there is. So, don't you find it kind of ironic, a lot of people who are protesting against oil digging the way that you described it, their views and their facts are kind of archaic, and it's kind of weird because they're protesting against it, and they're saying, oh, you harm this and you harm that. Well, no, the ironic part is that we're actually a lot more progressive than what you think is actually happening, because in their mind is that you have to put coal in this little trail, and then you have to push it and whatnot, and then you have miners all over the walls, kind of with pickaxes and dwarves in there, the 7 dwarves there picking all that stuff. Isn't that kind of annoying that that's in your field? I don't know if you talk a lot to your friends and your families and whatnot who has that kind of archaic kind of point of view. Doesn't that get kind of annoying sometimes, that you'd be like, oh, well, I'm not gonna go through a whole 1 hour explaining to you guys how this is kind of thing, right?
I always get the oh, you dig it in the dirt, and I'm like, literally, I sit at computers. I just have giant computer screens, and I look at digital data. That's I don't do anything like that. I don't.
You just have a shovel there, just digging.
I'm out there, out in Texas, and I'm like, no, we don't do that. So
I would actually pay to see that. Somebody do that and be like, I knew it. This is what the oil people do. It's the same thing for my wife too as well, because she's she's a cardiologist, and a lot of people think with the whole vaccination thing and all that stuff, depending on what your point of view is, that she gets a lot of money. She's like, I get pennies. He's like, do you see our house? This is what is this? This is a stupid house. But no, that's actually very interesting though. That's something man, because now I'm gonna be passing by all these oil rigs and this oil oil rigs and whatnot all over Bakersfield, because I don't know if you've seen, if you just Google map Bakersfield, you're just gonna be like, well, that's an oil rig there.
Yeah, and they're like hidden, aren't they? They like build a little thing around it so you can't see it. Or are you talking about, okay, so
like literally like that whole thing?
I'll teach you a new thing too. Okay, so those aren't oil rigs, those are pump jacks.
Oh, okay, so pump jacks. Okay,
so those are actually pumping. They're forcing like either air or pressure down, and it comes out a tube on the other side. So those are pump jacks, and they're different all over. And those are usually the ones that are a little bit older. Yeah. So there's less pressure, or there's like fluid at the bottom, and it doesn't want to just go by itself.
Right.
So those are pump jacks, but the oil rigs are the big tall ones that are like towers, and that's where they put a drilling thing down.
The little thing, and the Texaco.
That's how. Yeah, now they're fancier now than just the like four-legged thing, but so those are rigs. Those are drilling rigs, but the pump jacks are the little like donkey thing that those are pump jacks. So
man, there's
now you'll see all those around.
There's tons of them here, like no kidding. Like where I'm at right now is actually a lot better. Air quality wise in Bakersfield, because Bakersfield is like, if you think of Bakersfield, it's a little bit more of like a stopover town. Like you would pass it by if you didn't have to pee going from LA to San Francisco, right?
If there wasn't so much traffic that you had to stop. There's a lot to do.
Exactly. If there wasn't no much traffic, you never know what Bakersfield is. But if there was traffic, like I gotta pee. Oh, what is this, Bakersfield? Yeah, let's stop by there for a second. So that's what Bakersfield is. But there is Kern County River. So there's something called the Kern County River that's dried up because there's a dam here somewhere. I don't know where the dam is. It dries up, but the oil companies in here, they're like, well, we don't want land to go to waste, so they put all those jacks in this like river type. So you can actually go to the nearby local college here, UCSB, I think it is. Okay. You can go over the hill and you can just see like a sea of like these oil jacks. And if you look up, the quality of air is not as flattering as.
Are they all active, or are they just sitting there?
They're all active. Yeah. There's even some like near preschool and whatnot. They're just oil, like a lot of people when I try to describe them what Bakersfield is like, they think I'm just kidding. I'm like, no, I'm not kidding. Like my wife is like, she gets like a lot of patients in here with kids with heart conditions, because like the air quality is just like it's horrendous in here, right? So we moved to like the section of the town where like the air quality is kind of nice. So when you look out in the horizon, you can actually tell the difference, because it's like, oh, it's kind of brownish thing in there, and here you're like, oh, the sky is blue. So it's kind of odd that in here they still adopt that kind of process of digging up oil versus like what you're describing, which is a lot better actually. It's not I guess the operation of that is kind of expensive then, right? I mean, like it's really hard, because you have to think of like you said, you have to dig the operation part, the maintenance part, and all that stuff. You have to think of all those, right? Man, that's like intense stuff, man. I was thinking that your job would be like, hey, look, crystal. Like it looks like a crystal in here. It looks really nice. I was literally expecting you to be like, oh, you want to know about rocks, Tim? All right, see this crystal here?
It's like, if I have a rock, I can say a rock on my shelf, but I
was literally expecting like go ahead, you can go get it. I was literally expecting some sort of like Neil deGrasse Tyson of you, like explaining about how salts and how it formed in millions of years, and you're gonna show me an example. I was like, that's gonna be nice, but then you threw me this one. I was like, this is much more interesting. This is amazing.
Okay, what I have here, so there's an area in Oklahoma. There's a mine in Oklahoma. So I'm switching a little bit here, but I'll explain this. There's a mine in Oklahoma that's a certain sand. It's called the Oil Creek sand. because it was really originally super, super oil rich. Where you find it and it's there, it's like amazing. It's like one of those Saudi sands. Okay, but it's in Oklahoma.
Saudis.
But where it's clean, it's actually 99.7% pure silica. Do you know what that is?
Silica.
Yeah. Like
no. Well, have I seen it? Like, have I seen
silica is quartz. It's like clear white, like no discoloration, like perfect sand. You can think of the cleanest, whitest sand you can imagine. Silica is quartz.
I don't think I've seen one before.
Silica. They use silica to make our electronics.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I guess so. Yeah. Okay.
So I have this. It's in a baggie because it's fallen apart so much. But like this is a super high quality sand.
So wow.
Clean. It's all the little pieces have fallen apart. But
how does it feel? Like, does it feel like kind of
super soft and like it's white. I can't even like. Well, there's some pieces left over it. It used to be a chunk, and then it started falling apart. So I put it in this baggie.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of rock I deal with. This is falling apart, and it was picked up at the surface, but it's down deep. It's like really clean and pretty.
It's very powdery looking. It looks like
on this screen it looks really hard to see, but it's perfect. It's like almost pure clean sand.
It looks almost like cocaine looking.
Perfect. Yeah, but it's like really teeny. Like, you know how like sandpaper has sand grit. Like the higher the number, the grit, the smaller, the finer the particles are.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is probably like a super fine grit. So if you put this on paper, it would be a super fine grit.
Is that worth a lot? Is that worth something?
400 or something like that. This no, because I just picked it up.
Oh, when you said 400, I was like, what? Send me some of those then, if you guys have tons of them.
In terms of sandpaper, 400 grit sand. Like that fine, like the fine sand grit.
I was like, I got a business idea here, Susie. You need a lot more bags than that. No, that's actually really interesting. That's what I wanted to get into, because like I've seen like interviews that you've done, but I'm like, man, why aren't you guys asking the most interesting part about the rock stuff, man? You guys gotta ask about the rock stuff. So this is actually very insightful and whatnot. That's actually really nice. So now now I can be like all smart and genius sounding.
Now you know to call them pump jacks.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah. I'm just gonna raise my finger. Actually,
that they're literally pumping the fluids out of the hole. Or
pretty much. That's just gonna be like one of my arsenal for like randomly talking about stuff. They're just gonna be like, I don't know. It's like, Tim, I was just asking you about your day. I don't know how we got to like pump jacks and cocaine looking sand. I don't know what. I don't know how we got to this point, Tim, but I gotta go pee. Can we just like
stop in Bakersfield?
Like, I don't know. Are you trying to sell me Bakersfield? I don't know what's going on in here. Oh my god. Well, I want to touch on like your cosplay stuff too as well, but mainly I want to touch on the geology part, because it's kind of amazing though, because no one has asked you about it. I was like, why isn't anybody asking her about this? This is like amazing. I was taking my own hands. I'm gonna ask her about it then. I'm gonna spend half of my interview with her about geology stuff. I don't care. So cosplay stuff though. When did you get started?
It was it was just before, it was like that, less than a year before everything shut down for the pandemic. So 2019, somewhere in the like mid 2019, I started. I always did Halloween costumes, so I'm doing this usual thing. Like I always did Halloween costumes, and then I was like, I want to make something more intense. I was watching some random YouTube videos, learning about like foam, EVA foam. So. I wasn't really a cosplayer. I wasn't doing anything. Active with anything. But I like for the Christmas, the beginning of 2019.
Right.
After 2018, I said, hey, put these things on my list. These tools, a heat gun, a glue gun, and some other stuff. And so like I just said, I want to make a fancy, really good costume for Halloween this year, and I'm going to learn a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to do it. And so then I decided, if I'm going to learn how to do this, I had just joined like Instagram. I had like pushed it off for so many years. I'm like, why would I need to do this? I don't want to be on this platform. And then I was like, well, I'll just post the things that I'm working on. I was like, that's pretty cool. I'll show people, like, I'm proud of an accomplishment I did, and here's this thing I made. Here's this thing I made. And so I started doing that.
Right.
And then a convention came up in town where Jason Momoa was going to be. And I was like, well, that would be really cool to like have a picture with him. I'm a big DC fan. I like,
it's
Justice League. Yeah.
Jason Momoa.
And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to this convention. It was in Tulsa. I had to drive almost 2 hours. And so I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to go, I'm going to stand and take a picture with him. I'm going to dress up. Yeah. I'm going to dress up. And so that's when I would say that cosplaying is when I started, because I wore my first ever Wonder Woman outfit, which was a Halloween costume build.
Yeah,
I wore that in August of 2019.
So is it? So I know that you make your own stuff, like all of it.
Most of it, because I've been making a little bit of money through the hobby now, like between selling patterns or doing commissions for people. So now that I'm making a little bit of money, the things that I can't do, some things that I'm not great at, or somebody does it really good, I've started buying some things. So like, I'm not the greatest at sewing, but I keep learning. But there's like the complex ones. I'm like, I'm buying a few now. I think that's totally fine.
Is this like the skills that you've always had? Well, let me ask you this: what came first, your profession, geology, or making stuff?
Geology. I've been in the oil and gas. I'm gonna age myself. You're gonna give up my age.
Tell me later.
Yeah, but I've been in my profession for over 10 years.
Yeah.
As a professional, that's after in my advanced degree. I have a master's in geology, so I've been doing that for a while, and then I just picked up. I mean, I made Halloween costumes randomly, in college. So that's been a long time.
So
one of my first ones was Lara Croft, which I just remade a couple weeks ago.
Right.
So came back to the starting point when I first started making costumes myself. So
it's kind of full circle kind of thing. So essentially, it's not something that you just fell into. It's something that you've done in the past.
I just
kind of evolved into it.
Yeah. And then I started doing it not just for Halloween anymore, because I was making friends through people that also build or have the same interest, and they're like, "Oh, that's really cool what you made," or "Show us what you're done." And then I take some pictures myself, and I'm like, and I make more friends, and so it's like it's just snowballed.
Right.
And
then you start, and then because you make some armors, and then you make some weapons to some of the top cosplayers out there too as well, right?
My I don't know, my love language, my friendship language is like, I don't want to just buy you some random thing. It's from me, it's from the heart. I want to make you something. So I've made a couple things for people as gifts, and then some of those people ask me to make things in which I've then gotten payment for.
It was kind of funny though, because I was describing my who you are in the cosplay world to my wife, and I was like, "Have you seen the doc?" She's like, I told her, "You saw the documentary about Kanye West?" She's like, "Yeah." You know how he says that he's not just a producer, but he's a rapper too as well. Yeah, she is kind of like the Kanye West of like the cosplay world. She's the one responsible for all these weapons and the armors and whatnot. She's like, "Oh, so she's actually the brains of everything." I was like, "Yeah, she's the brains of everything." It's like
the hands.
Yeah. It's like it's the same way as Kanye West makes Jay-Z sound really good. She makes all these cosplayers really good. She's like, "Oh, really?" So she's like breaking out. I was like, I think she's already broken out already. So that's actually really good though. So have you been getting a lot of requests from other top cosplayers too, or ever since the article from CBR came out, have you been getting a lot more requests and making more builds for them, commissions and all that? Because I imagine when you get to that point, you're just like, okay, there's lucrative money in here. So are you getting a lot more requests nowadays?
So not really. Mostly because I don't have available time for that. There are close friends of mine, people you probably know, that I'm more likely to help fix something or do something small for them. But my wait list is too long because my day job and my family. It's just like, and then I want to do for myself, and that's the reason I do it, is for my hobby, myself. So I don't get a whole lot of requests because I think people realize that I'm not open for commissions. But then I do talk with my friends, and then there's things that I'm going to do for some people.
That's actually pretty cool. So it's like very exclusive. So, you're like it's like
a lot of, if someone asks that I don't know, that I don't have any kind of relationship with, the answer is no, because I also don't have any business relationship with you. I don't know if you're gonna pay me. And then it's not cheap. And so a lot of people don't realize that. I'm not going to say prices because everything is a different value pending the time, the materials, and my schedule. And I also don't do things fast for all the same other reasons. And my day job pays way more hourly than I could ever charge for these projects. I mean, I would have to do these projects full time. I would, you couldn't, I mean, my skill set maybe isn't worth what I get paid in my job for that skill set, but I won't quit my day job.
Yeah, of course not. No, you've been doing it for like 10 years.
Yeah. So that's where I won't, I won't, I only do things that are fun. For me, for my friends, that I want to do. That's the other thing, is I won't do projects that are just, hey, I want to make this random character from a game, and I'm like, I don't know, I have no investment in that, and if I am not interested in it, I will not do a good job. So no.
I'm not gonna lie, the way that you're describing that makes me want to have more of your stuff. It's like a very exclusive club right now. It's like I don't know designers, designer clothing. It's like, oh, it's like a Gucci that's never been sold before. It's just there kind of thing. It's like you just kind of want it now. You just might have something in here. It's like you're like that character from Invincible. Is it Invincible? Yeah, the lady who makes all the superhero costumes, no capes.
Not Invincible. In The Incredibles. You mean?
Incredible. Oh yeah, The Incredibles. Yeah, Edna. You're like literally Edna. No capes. Yeah, you're essentially like that. Everything that she does is exclusive now. But no, I mean, like, I think that you're gonna get to that point where like you're gonna be a little bit more exclusive, and then people are gonna want it. I mean, you don't want to meet you don't want to leave your day job, but you're gonna be like, man, this is like something in here, man. You just kind of deny. It's kind of like Harvard. You just didn't. They have a certain amount of people that they want to deny just to keep the exclusivity. It's like, no, I'm not gonna do your costume. No, I'm not gonna do yours. Maybe, darling, come over.
It would be fun someday to make something for be asked to make something for a special premiere, how they have what's it called, like Marvel has the Becoming series. Like that would be cool. That would be a fun upgrade, like I'm really good at it and someone's chosen me.
I don't doubt that you're not,
or there's lots of video games that will do take the big cosplayers, like Cosplay. If you don't know who she is, she's amazing. She's in the gaming world, and I just learned stuff from her. I don't know a lot of her costumes, but she has exclusive, she makes them for video games and gets paid to do them, and I think that would be a really cool thing to do, because that's going to get you thousands of dollars.
I think you're on your way there already. Because I mean, like, most of your stuff is already exclusive, and when you do make them, it looks fantastic and whatnot. Like I said, I don't cosplay at all, but I'm very familiar with the world and whatnot and how it works. I want one of your stuff now and be like, what do you want, Tim? I don't care, make anything. Just so I can say I have one of your stuff. So no, I don't doubt that you're gonna get to that point. It's just that I think it's just the journey part. But
Mhm.
no, I mean, like, I think it's pretty cool though. I mean, like, I thought that you've been doing like this kind of work. You told me the word before because I called it something else, and you're like, no, it's actually foam smith.
Foamsmith, yeah.
Yeah, foam smith. I was like, nah, she's lying. I literally, when I was texting you about it, I was like, oh man, this girl's lying. I looked it up. I was like, oh, I'll be damn, foam smith. I was like, I thought she's just making that thing up. I'm like, I've been in this cosplay world for a long time, and I didn't ever heard of that. I thought that that's something that you've been doing for years and years and years, kind of stuff. And then your day job is like one of those things that's kind of took over a little bit, even though this is what you really wanted to do, kind of stuff. Do you I know you said that you don't see yourself quitting your day job for something like this, but do you see yourself hanging back a little bit on your day job and then doing more of this kind of thing?
I don't know that my day job really gives that opportunity to not I can't not go into my office on certain days. Other than, I'll use my vacation time to do as much cosplay stuff as I can. And so like every couple of years I get and then more vacation time. So yeah, I want to, other than family commitments and doing like family fun vacations, like I want to get to more conventions. I want to be able to go elsewhere, because where I am in Oklahoma, there's not a whole lot. In fact, I think like Wizard World had come here. That was the one that I went to, was a Wizard World, and now they were bought up by
Fan Expo,
and then apparently they had a bad experience here. So that's what I just recently found out. So they might we don't have any big cons that are going to come here anymore.
Yeah.
So gotta get out of small town and
go somewhere and whatnot. Yeah. Fan Expo's been here's a little insight I can tell you though. Fan Expo's buying off all the Wizard World stuff, depending on what they are. I think they're buying 2 more later on in the year.
I didn't even know that there were any more left.
There's like pockets one. They're like, oh, maybe. Yeah, they're like, oh, maybe if we keep it small, they'll never hear about us and we'll never get bought out, or kind of thing. That kind of stuff. Your kids, how old are they? Your kids, boys,
6.
girls?
They're all girls.
All girls.
6.
Oh wow.
6 for the youngest, and then 9 for the twins.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, something that most people didn't tell me, because I have a baby girl too. Something that people never told me. They're like, oh yeah, they'll tell you that kids will change your life and whatnot, but girls make you so emotional, it's not even funny. Like, I just find myself randomly trying to hold up sobbing. I don't know why. I'm like, the hormones, I don't know what this is about. But I don't know, like you get like, get really emotional and whatnot. But what does your girls think about mom cosplaying and whatnot?
Oh, they enjoy it sometimes, and sometimes they don't. My little one has done a little bit with me. You might randomly see her on my page occasionally. She loves Wonder Woman, and she really enjoyed seeing the little girl Wonder Woman in all the movies. So so I even got her for her birthday last year at 5, I think. I got her one of those cameos from the actress Lily Aspo.
Right.
I got her a cameo for her birthday, so she got a little special message, and that was great. She has her own little outfits. As well.
You realize your kids is going to kill it every Halloween at school with costumes.
Yeah, I rotate through so that only one at a time gets me to make one for them. So I made like a Wonder Woman armor this past year. For one of the other girls, I did Astrid from How to Train Your Dragon. Previous year to that. And then something. So like I'll do one kid's big costume. Now, if they don't want me to do one, I won't. I won't make one. One of them just wanted to be Spider-Gwen, and so like I just got a Zentai suit printed, but I knew where to get it so that it was good and it worked for her.
It's gonna get to that point where one of the topics for a PTA meeting is how to not let your kids pretty much compete in the costume contest. You'll be like, excuse me, it's not fair at all. Because they're just gonna pull up like a picture of you. This is their mom, like literally Wonder Woman. You can't compete. What about husband, your hubby, and whatnot?
He's not so much. I made him a Captain America early in my work, and it was okay. It needs some like a muscle suit or something underneath it, just because of the shape. But nah, he's not really. He just likes it for Halloween. So this year he's going to do a Maverick Top Gun. So I'm getting him a real suit for that. I made him a helmet, which I think I'm pretty proud of it. I made a Top Gun helmet,
a Maverick helmet. Hell yeah!
Yeah, out of foam. So so it's not his thing, but for Halloween it's fun. So
yeah. Does he like? I know for some people when they have like somewhat famous relatives or they're related to someone, they don't really realize it that they're that kind of a big deal. Does your husband know that you're that kind of a big deal, or he's just like, I guess so? I mean, like these people keep messaging her, kind of thing.
He likes to show me off once in a while on like I gave him a stack of my business cards because sometimes I want to participate in charity stuff. I haven't had a lot of opportunities, but like I want to go to Girl Scouts and talk to them or something. So if like he makes a connection somewhere, he just has a stack in his car to like give to people. So every once in a while,
that's actually something
talks me up. So.
That's actually something I want to talk to you about after this show or whatnot. Yeah. But that is it for episode 1 for the season 2 of random nerd shits. I know that we spent a lot of time on about your career, but that is just so damn interesting. I don't care what anybody says. All right, that's just amazing.
It is equally as nerdy shit.
Yeah, that is the most nerd. I mean, like
a different direction.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, season 2, episode 1. What's the nerdiest thing I could do? Susie, can we talk about rocks? So thank you for being in the show. But you guys, if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. You can always visit Susie's Instagram feed too as well. You can go to Susie Creates too. You can also go to her page on ComScorePromotions.com/TNS Management if you guys want to request her for anything, but she's not going to make your stuff. Okay, so she's too busy. Mom, geologist, everything too busy. But if you guys want to request her for conventions or promotional stuff, definitely just send a message there too as well. Susie, any last words for people out there in the podcast world? Just to let you know too as well, we're in like 3 different countries too as well. I think New Zealand's like added like yesterday for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh wow, I'd love to go there someday.
I know, right? I was like, I don't know who you are.
It's gotta be beautiful there.
It's like I get
earthquakes, right?
Yeah, I get these maps that says like how many people are listening, and then I saw one map in New Zealand. I was like, who are you? Like, who is this one person in New Zealand? But yeah, any last words for everybody out there?
Do your nerdy stuff. Enjoy it, even if it's a hobby or you only do it once in a random time. Like it's fun. Do some cosplay, make something, draw a picture, do it. Just do it. Yes.
There you go.
Have that hobby. Mm-hmm.
There you go. Wise words from Susie there. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Until then, I will see you guys next week.